With its absurd proportions and strange roof-mounted scoop, mechanics are left scratching their heads, wondering how this was ever allowed on a racetrack. It looks more like a submarine on wheels than a traditional Italian sports car. What exactly is this peculiar machine? This is the 1965 Abarth OT 2000 Periscopio. Paying off that wild roof design, the massive periscope intake was engineered strictly to shove cold air into the sweltering, rear-mounted engine bay during grueling endurance races. Built to dominate the track, its incredibly lightweight fiberglass body made it terrifyingly fast but dangerously fragile. Never intended for mass production, this purpose-built track weapon remains an absolute unicorn today. With its absurd proportions, ultra-thin pillars, and a weird side-hinged hood, mechanics are left scratching their heads, wondering how this is even street legal. It looks like a bizarre Italian prototype that accidentally escaped onto public roads. What exactly is this aluminum-bodied oddity? This is the 1970 Lancia Fulvia Sport Zagato. Explaining this engineering anomaly, the brilliant coach builder Ercole Spada took a sensible rally chassis and transformed it into a radical aerodynamic teardrop to cheat the wind. Beneath that strange hood lies an incredibly narrow-angle V4 engine, mounted way ahead of the front axle, creating an unconventional layout that handled like absolute magic. Too expensive to produce and prone to severe rust, this quirky marvel remains an absolute unicorn today. Found rotting deep in the Canadian woods, this rusted shell isn't just scrap metal. It's a lost piece of pre-war automotive history that nature is slowly trying to reclaim. What exactly is this forgotten forest ghost? This is the 1940 Plymouth sedan. Unlocking the mystery of its forest tomb, these vehicles were incredibly robust family haulers, built right before civilian auto production completely halted for the war effort. Featuring elegant Art Deco styling and suicide-style rear doors on some models, they were the smooth luxury cruisers of their era. Left behind to decay into the earth, this once proud machine is now a rusting monument to a bygone era. Found rotting away in a forgotten rural field, this rusted shell isn't just scrap metal destined for the crusher. It's a highly sought-after piece of American muscle car history that deep-pocketed collectors and hot rodders are actively hunting for. What exactly is this dormant legend? This is the 1966 Chevrolet Malibu. Hiding beneath decades of dirt and overgrown weeds is the iconic GM A-body platform that helped define the golden era of Detroit steel. Featuring that unmistakable, sharply raked front grille and a flying buttress roofline, it was the perfect canvas for builders to drop massive big block V8s into. Often left to decay in the backwoods as someday restoration projects, finding an original survivor like this is an absolute unicorn. With its absurdly long proportions and box-like stance, this utilitarian beast looks like a mechanical brick designed solely to punish the pavement. It possesses zero luxury features, yet it commands absolute respect from modern mechanics who are tired of fragile, computer-laden modern vehicles. What exactly is this indestructible monolith? This is the 1990 Chevrolet CK work truck. Better known by its legendary GMT 400 chassis code, this bare-bones long bed pickup was built for pure, unapologetic labor rather than comfortable grocery runs. Stripped of all chrome and armed with a simplistic sealed beam front grille, its true power lay in a bulletproof small block V8 that outlasted the very roads it drove on. Driven straight into the ground by contractors for decades, finding a clean survivor today is a brilliant mistake of automotive longevity. At first glance, everyone assumes this is a rare, limited edition drift missile straight out of Tokyo. But beneath the aggressive badges, an aftermarket rear end hides a massive secret. So, what is this strange custom imposter? This is the 2010 Lexus IS-C. Explaining the twist of its bizarre appearance, an owner clearly bolted on an aftermarket rear extension and mismatched badges to create their own Frankenstein street racer. Originally designed as a luxurious, smooth-riding convertible with a clever three-piece folding aluminum hardtop, it was never meant to be a gritty drift car. Ultimately killed off by sluggish sales and a global shift towards SUVs, this heavily modified survivor is a completely misunderstood canvas. Spotted casually in normal traffic, this bizarre shape looks like a movie prop from a futuristic sci-fi film that accidentally escaped onto public roads. Most drivers have absolutely no idea what badge is even on the hood of this tiny, wedge-like convertible. What is this alien machine? This is the 2010 Renault Wind. Unlocking the secret of its strange proportions, this oddball is essentially just a humble Renault Twingo hatchback wearing a futuristic, sporty disguise. It features a brilliant, single-piece metal roof that pivots backwards 180 degrees into the trunk in just 12 seconds, perfectly preserving all of its luggage space. Despite its remarkably clever engineering, buyers ignored it entirely, making it a complete financial disaster. At first glance, everyone assumes this is just a boring, harmless family sedan commuting to the office. But beneath the dull paint and notoriously missing hubcaps hides a surprisingly aggressive urban terrorizer. What exactly is this infamous street imposter? This is the 2015 Nissan Altima. Explaining its chaotic reputation, the combination of accessible subprime financing and surprisingly punchy engines turned these basic family sedans into accidental street brawlers. They are mechanically infamous for their incredibly fragile, continuously variable transmissions that tend to whine loudly right before catastrophic failure. Mass-produced by the millions, yet constantly found fleeing minor fender benders, this modern commuter is an undeniable cultural phenomenon. Found through a single shattered piece of plastic left at a chaotic crash scene, this isn't some exotic hypercar or priceless antique. It's an invisible phantom that blends seamlessly into everyday traffic, hiding in plain sight while holding a massive market share. What exactly is this suburban ghost? This is the 2008 Toyota Highlander. Far from a street racer, this reliable family hauler was identified solely by the part number stamped on its torn right-hand fender liner. Built on the rock-solid Camry chassis, it featured a surprisingly punchy V6 that made it deceptively quick off the line for a mid-size crossover. While millions were sold globally, tracking one down after a hit-and-run proves that even the most mundane daily drivers can become an absolute unicorn when they vanish into the sprawl. Spotted creeping through normal traffic covered in bizarre camouflage, this disguised shape looks like a top-secret military project that accidentally escaped onto public roads. Rival manufacturers are desperately trying to figure out what proportions and lines hide beneath the heavy vinyl cladding. What is this alien machine? This is the upcoming 2026 Kia Telluride prototype. Beneath the dizzying black and white wrap lies the highly anticipated redesign of the SUV that completely disrupted the American family vehicle market. Engineered to look more rugged and boxy than ever, it features massive updated vertical light signatures meant to intimidate much pricier European luxury SUVs. Still deep in its clandestine testing phase, this disguised test mule is a misunderstood masterpiece of automotive secrecy. Found lurking in a blurry social media post, this classic silhouette looks like a lost piece of automotive history that billionaires are hunting for. Beneath its elegant, heavy-set chrome lines hides a legendary chassis built for high-speed, continent-crossing dominance. What exactly is this vintage luxury cruiser? This is the 1980 Mercedes-Benz 450 SL. Paying off that hidden treasure vibe, this generation was famously nicknamed the Panzerwagen because it was heavily armored with over-engineered safety features and an indestructible iron block V8. It even featured deeply ribbed taillights specifically designed to repel aerodynamic dirt and snow, ensuring the car always looked perfectly clean at the country club. While immensely successful during the disco era, perfectly maintained survivors are becoming incredibly rare, solidifying its status as a misunderstood masterpiece. It looks like a $1 million hypercar ripped straight out of a futuristic Hollywood blockbuster, but it actually costs less than a used Honda. Spotted rolling down regular streets, its chopped roofline and massive haunches give it the menacing presence of a custom-built supercar. What exactly is this aggressive street monster? This is the 2012 Chevrolet Camaro. Exposing this price deception, underneath that movie star exterior is the exact retro-futuristic platform that brought the legendary American pony car back from the dead after an 8-year hiatus. It paired a snarling V8 with fully independent rear suspension for the first time in the model's history, fundamentally changing how a heavy muscle car carved through corners. Plagued by notoriously terrible outward visibility and eclipsed by its modern successors, this heavy brawler is now a massive bargain. At first glance, everyone assumes this is just a standard, disposable farm vehicle used for dragging junk to the scrapyard. But beneath the generic, boxy American styling hides a massive, torque monster secret that thieves and diesel mechanics are absolutely obsessed with. What is this unassuming heavy-duty hauler? This is the 2005 GMC Sierra 2500. Exposing its fake identity as a basic work truck, many of these heavy haulers concealed the legendary 6.6-liter Duramax diesel V8 paired with a bulletproof Allison transmission. It utilized a massively reinforced hydroformed steel frame that allowed it to tow small houses across the country without breaking a sweat, making it a highly targeted prize for chop shops and trailer thieves. Punished by decades of brutal labor and rust, finding an unmolested survivor today is a complete unicorn. Spotted in normal traffic, this bizarre geometric shape looks like an origami movie prop from a retro sci-fi film that accidentally escaped onto public roads. Most people would assume it's a cheap aftermarket kit car, built in someone's shed out of fiberglass. What exactly is this boxy top-down anomaly? This is the 1985 Toyota Celica convertible. Debunking the kit car theory, this was an official factory-sanctioned project where the legendary American coach builder ASC took standard coupes and meticulously sliced the roofs off to bypass strict safety laws. It featured radical pop-up headlights that physically rotated completely backward when turned off, laying perfectly flush with the razor-sharp hood line. Utterly decimated by safety regulations and terrible 1980s rust, this forgotten Japanese cruiser is now a brilliant piece of lost history. Spotted gleaming under the lights of a local car meet, this aggressive wedge looks like a stealth fighter jet that accidentally landed in a parking lot. With its sharp angles and menacing rear fascia, it looks almost too radical to be a standard production car. What exactly is this exotic street monster? This is the Lamborghini Huracan Tecnica. Bridging the gap between a standard supercar and a dedicated track weapon, it borrows the screaming, naturally aspirated V10 engine directly from the hardcore STO model. The redesigned rear isn't just for show. It features a unique bumper and hexagonal exhausts designed to drastically reduce drag while increasing high-speed downforce. As one of the final celebrations of the pure V10 era before hybrid engines took over, it stands as an absolute unicorn in modern motoring. Another file closed. Which of today's finds was a masterpiece and which was a mistake? Debate it in the comments. If you love cars that defy explanation, make sure to subscribe. See you on the next discovery.